Hello, this is Joe again, and this video will teach you how to make an origami F-16. So the first part, fold it in half lengthwise, and I'm going to say it up front right now. When you're making an airplane, the crisper and cleaner all your folds are, the better the plane will fly. So you want to make sure you're using your fingernail and pressing down on all the folds to make sure they're really, really clean. Next, you take the corner, you fold it down, and line up the top of the paper with the edge of the paper to create a nice point at the top. Do the same thing going the other way. Next, flip it over, and you should find the point where all those creases you made meet, that center point, and you fold the paper back along that point. Make sure you line up the center crease and the edges of the paper when you fold. You can also use the diagonals as a reference where the edges should go. Unfold, turn it back over, and now you take the top, which is the side that's closest to the point. So if you were looking at it from over here, this would be the top. Fold it down about a 1/4 inch or so. And remember, this is the side that's closest to the center point. It doesn't have to be exactly a 1/4 inch, but it's just about the right size that it should be. Alright, make sure this is a good straight crease, and same with the bottom, except you fold it more than a 1/4 inch, almost 1/2 inch. Fold it up, make sure it's a nice clean straight crease. Alright, now using those creases you had just made before this, you bring in the edges like this and fold inward and press down like that. This is the base of which you will be making the plane from. So you fold the top down and the sides in like that. From here, crease the edges and all the new folds in this new position. Make sure that they're nice and tight. Alright, so now it should look like this, and this is the base from which the plane will form. You should have 2 wings right here, and these sides which will turn into the tail. So you take these 2 wings and fold them over to one side, doesn't really matter which, and you take one of the sides that will become the wing, or the tail, and you line up the edge right here with the center crease. But before you fold, back it off a little bit so that there's room for you to fold it over once you've made this fold. I'll show you what I mean. So just keep the edge a little bit away from the center crease, and these should definitely be some really tight folds right here. So you see how the fold doesn't quite come in contact with the center, and that's so when you fold it over it doesn't catch. Alright, and you do the same thing with the wing on that side. Remember, both your wings are over on this side. Fold it in so that this edge is running alongside the center crease but not touching it. Should make sure that they stay a good distance apart, but you don't want to make them too far apart because then the plane will be a little bit awkward. Okay, so now you fold both of those wings over to the other side and do the same thing. Alright, so now with one wing on either side, your base should look like this now. Next step will be forming the wings, and to do so you take one of the wings, fold it over just like it was before, and then you take that layer, top layer, out and fold it over. To get an idea on what angle it should be at, just imagine a line running along the center crease right here, and then another line going perpendicular. The edge of the wing right here should be just up from being perpendicular with the center crease, like that. Make a good tight crease here. So fold it over and fold your other wing over. Now, to make sure both wings are the exact same size, you should line this wing up with the other one like this. So when you fold it out, make sure all the sides match. It's a very difficult thing for a plane to fly if one wing is longer than the other. Alright, so now your base should be looking more like a plane. Like that. So this section will be creating the tail. So you take the first layer of the tail and you fold it out so that the line ends just above the edge of the paper right here, about that far away or so, and ends just before the corner right here, so it doesn't go all the way to the tip. It should kind of be like this. This should be a good tight crease. And just like we did with the wings, we want to make sure that each side of the tail is exactly the same size. So to do so, you take both of the wings up top together and fold back like so, and with the unfolded side of the tail facing up, you just do the same thing, only lining up the new side with the old side of the tail. If it doesn't line up perfectly, that's okay, but just make sure you do your best to make them the same length and about the same shape. Alright, now return it to its base. It should be like this. Now, you take this little flap at the edge of the very corner, this corner, and fold it down just like that. Go all the way to the corner, as far down as you can, like that. Then you do the same thing on the other side. And now it should look like this. So, like we did before, take both the wings and fold them over to one side, and then take this part of the tail, this flap, and line up the edge right here. Fold it down as close as it will to the crease that runs right here, but you only let the fold go to just before where the corner was. So, to get an idea of what I'm saying, it should look like this. See, here's the flap you just folded out, here's the edge, and here's the fold you should make. So the crease should run from the tip down to maybe another 1/4 inch before the edge of the tail, like that. And turn the wings over to the other side and do the same thing. Okay, return your wings to the base position. And this next part is going to seem a little funny, but it'll really help if you do this step right now. Unfold this part of the tail open like this, and do the same thing on the other side. Now you should have this flap right here. What you want to do is create a fold that will run from here all the way up to the edge of the fold you just made at the tail. So it should look like this. This step is kind of tricky, but like I said, it's better to do now, because it'll be a lot more tricky to do if you leave it till later on. So it should be like that, all the way from there down to the center crease. And you do the same on the other side. So to give you an idea on what this does, you can fold it in half like this and see how it gives the end look like this. That will later become the tail. So fold it back to where you had it and return it from where you folded it, return it back down and refold in the tail. So now it's back to where it was before, except it has those 2 new creases right there. So, next part, turn it over, and now you're going to make it start to look like an actual plane. So, you should bend the plane along the center just a little, like that, and then with your other hand bend the nose and edges down like this. So it should start to collapse inward like that. then very slowly and carefully without damaging the plane. This is pretty tricky to start out, but once you learn how to do it, it's pretty easy. Just bring the sides slowly down like that. So now should look kind of like this, and right here you want to make sure the wings and the tail stay lined up. Once you've lined them up, then make a nice crease here. Like that. So now you have the base. Now you just have to make it able to fly. So underneath the wing and the tail there should be this part right here. You want to invert it like this and pull it up a little bit like that. This part is also kind of tricky, so just gotta get used to doing weird folds like this, and they're not hard anymore. So take this and you fold it up to form the tail like that, and press, and you remember those two weird folds you made? Now you should open up the back and refold along those creases. And then refold along those brand new folds you just made. And so now there is a nice looking tail that has popped out, right like that. So now we're down to the last few steps. Right at this corner here where the nose angles down and the top meet, right there, just below it on the other side, just down from where that corner is, right here, I'm going to start fold that folds up the wings and the tail. Like that. So you see, have the body of the plane right here, and you fold up. Turn it over and do the same thing from the corner right here down, grab the wing and bend up. Now press down really hard, make sure that these are good strong creases. You should see this little throwing fin right here show up. That's what you'll be holding when you throw this plane. And so now you have the body. Hold it on the throwing fin and bend the wings back down. pull out and bend down at the same time to look like that. Do the same thing on the other side. Now it should look very recognizably like an F-16 fighter plane. The last few steps right here are the winglets. So if you turn it over, you see the very tip of the wings. There's that little box. Fold up on that. So right at that. Fold up, and now you have the winglets, like so. So now you have your F-16 fighter plane that is complete. You can add in your own details if you want. You can bend down the edges to make the end a little bit more flat, but this will mess with how the plane flies. So if you want it to fly straight, I would recommend leaving it as it is. So just keep it all flat. And the best way to do this is to look at it from the very end. So you can see how this side is angled farther down than this side. Bend it up so that it's straight like the other one. Like that. And if you notice any of the wings are bent or something, bend them back. Try and make everything as straight as possible. If the rudder is a little bit over to one of the sides, bend it back, make it even. Make sure these little things sticking out right here aren't at an awkward angle. And once everything is flat like this, you should now have a very sturdy flying plane. There you have it, Origami F-16.